A literary analysis of young Goodman Brown and implications on society. Young Goodman Brown features a rather pious young man called Goodman Brown. His faith in God was dear to him, and so was his wife. He felt guilty for leaving her on this night to trek the dark woods, but his journey, as thou callest it, forth and back again, must needs be done twixt now and sunrise. The young faith would not subside from Goodman's mind, but his faith was susceptible to doubt. Brown was a proud Christian, with a heavy conscience, perhaps a bit of a gullible man, but he loved his dear faith. Goodman Brown's errand metaphorically describes existential matters of good and evil rooted in religious depictions of the heavens, God, and the devil. Goodman's forefathers had been God-fearing Christians, and young Goodman Brown intended on carrying on in their footsteps. After an encounter with a well-tailored man with a serpent staff, in the forest, who had been mysteriously expecting him, Brown's faith would be shaken to the core, and ultimately lost for good. The pair come across Goody Cloyce, an old lady who had taught Brown catechism as a boy. Brown was fearful for her safety and taken aback by her presence in the woods at such an hour. To Brown's dismay, she was in cohort with the inauspicious man. This had a profound effect on Goodman, because the woman he had grown up to think was a pious lady, could be acquainted with such a man, disposed him to severe doubts regarding everything he was taught, and held dear. After the ghastly encounter with Goody Cloyce, Brown refuses to travel any further with the man, who symbolized the devil, or more broadly, the inherent evil side to humankind. This is allegoric to one who is in denial of reality, choosing to believe in what is comforting. Wishful thinking is something humans tend to do, even if it means spiting reason. As Brown gives one last thought to returning home, confining himself to the pious life of his forefathers, contently attending church, and living happily ever after with his wife, his curiosity gets the better of him. He hears voices and finds one of Faith's pink ribbons. She was gone, his faith was gone. There was no God, and the evils of the world would go unpunished. There was no cosmic justice. Unable to process such revelations, Brown became furious, a madman. He pushes on deeper in the woods, only to come across a devilish scene with a rudimentary altar soaked in blood, and the devil himself commanding his minions, among them, the likes of Deacon Goodwin and many other elders of the church. The believers and non-believers, even Indian powwows, and alas his dear wife, Faith was also there. Brown commanded her not to give in to the fiendish temptations, and pray to the heavens, as he told her before leaving her side earlier that day, but to no avail. Goodman Brown would never know if she was able to resist the darkness. Was that wicked witchcraft in the woods just a dream? We cannot be certain, but what is certain is that young Goodman Brown became a bitter man, a lifeless shell of a person. Nothing like his former self. He was skeptical of everyone's intentions, suspecting the worst from them. Faith became a stranger to him, and he effectively died alone and emotionally cold. Goodman's name could be interpreted as good man, meaning a good pious man who prays and honors the Sabbath, while his wife is, as Hawthorne states, aptly named Faith, represents his faith in the Christian God, and the good of humanity. Without his beliefs, the world no longer had a sense of meaning to him. Nature appeared gloomy, the sky no longer occupied a friendly force, but a vast expanse of nothingness. There is a great deal of symbolism used in young Goodman Brown, representing the various things mentioned. Goodman's predicament can still be found in recent history, as well as the present. After the horrors of the Second World War committed largely by secular regimes, humanity was shown how evil it was capable of becoming. Much of the concern regarding communism is that it was considered ungodly, and that atheism was responsible for countless atrocities. In addition, many Marxists and far-leftists in the 1970s such as Stephen Jay Gould, from Harvard, opposed theories in evolutionary science regarding the foundation of human morality. Gould and his contemporaries argued that human behavior was cultivated by social norms and the transmission of culture. This provided a comfortable cushion between humankind and the rest of the animal kingdom. However, biologist E. O. Wilson published his book, Sociobiology, in which he states that much of the behavior of humans is genetically predisposed. This increasingly blurred the line between man and the rest of the natural world, crossing political and theological boundaries. The opposition from the far left may be attributed to the moral implications stemming from the world viewpoint such as Wilson's. Asserting that human behavior is purely naturalistic to an extent was believed to be counterproductive to finding the good in humanity. Many people did not want to accept that the brutality of the natural world was responsible for synthesizing the human condition, and perhaps, even molded our core morality.